Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our second in the series of the Masterclasses, full Masterclasses with the Stars, brought here to you by the Fresno State Music Department, Art Song Festival, and the Opera Theater. We are so excited that our faculty for today is a renowned baritone, Igor Vieira. Mr. Vieira has just been awarded Best Singer Award for the season of 2019 by San Francisco Classical Singer. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Welcome. Mr. Vieira has sung over 104 roles on the stage. He has shared the stage with such legends as Renee Fleming and Deborah Voigt. He is a very famous recitalist. He has done concerts with orchestra in every single genre you can think of, and he is also an experienced opera director. We're so excited to have you. Welcome, Mr. Vieira, and we're going to start with our first singer. Thank you.
Thank you. Pleasure being here.
Hello, I'm Joshua Bravo, and I will be singing Arm, Arm, You Brave from Judas Maccabeus by Handel. Arm, ye brave. Arm, ye brave. A noble cause, a noble cause. The cause of heaven your zeal demands. A noble cause. The cause of heaven your zeal demands. A noble cause. The cause of heaven your zeal demands. Arm, ye brave. Arm, ye brave. A noble cause. Arm, ye brave. Arm, ye brave. A noble cause. The cause of heaven your zeal demands. A noble cause. Arm, ye brave. A noble cause. The cause of heaven your zeal demands. Your zeal, the cause of heaven your zeal demands. In defense of your nation, religion, and laws, the Almighty Jehovah will strengthen your hands. In defense of your nation, religion, and laws, the Almighty Jehovah will strengthen. The Almighty Jehovah will strengthen your hands. Arm, ye brave, a noble cause. The cause of heaven demands your zeal, a noble cause. Arm, ye brave. Arm, ye brave. The cause of heaven your zeal demands.
Wonderful. I actually didn't realize we were. Nice to meet you, Josh. Thank you for singing. I didn't realize you would be. We were doing this with a soundtrack rather than. I thought that I wasn't exactly sure how the setup was going to be, but I thought maybe you guys would be in a room, social distancing from the accompanist.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, because I say this because we work it out and we will do the best we can under the circumstances. But a lot of when you sing with an accompanist, there is a lot of give and take, and with the with the soundtrack, you have to do exactly what's there, otherwise it doesn't synchronize. And I'm saying this because this is a semi-ABA aria, meaning you have one theme, then you have something in between, and then you kind of goes back to the same theme, which is very typical of Baroque music, especially Handel. And is absolutely expected then when on the return of the A section, you embellish, you come up with a little things here and there to throw flavor in it, to make it a little bit more interesting to the audience, rather than just listening exactly the same song, the same music that they just heard before.
Yeah.
By the way, this goes to you, this goes to anyone today, including Dr. Briggs and Dr. Redford. If I'm talking too fast, if my sound is not good, if my accent is too thick and you can't understand, please let me know. I'll go back, I'll speak slower, I'll say the same thing again. It's not a big deal at all. I'm here to help you guys as much as I can. So, okay. First thing, I think you need to be a little bit more crisp with your consonants.
Okay.
I think a lot of times when we sing in a language that we speak, we tend to be a little bit too relaxed about it. And it's my experience that's exactly the opposite. The ones we know the best is the one that we have to be more careful about it, because we tend to just take it for granted and not do as good a job as we could do.
Yeah.
Second, this is a martial aria. He's called them to take up on arms against their oppressors. So it's very easy to get too vertical in an aria like this. Actually, the verticality of this aria helps us. The challenge, however, is to find where we keep the balance between the vertical part and the horizontal part. So it's lots of dotted rhythms, lots of crisp rhythms, exactly because it's a martial aria, it's a military aria. But there are moments where the composer gives you the chance to come up with something more fluid, something more legato, something with more line. So in other words, more horizontal versus vertical.
Yeah.
So for instance, since it's got a little bit hard because we don't have the accompanist, and so we would have to keep kind of going back and pausing. So I'll start with the beginning and we try to move along as much as we can. What is it? Mighty brave, the cause of heaven your zeal demands, a noble cause. Sorry, I'm singing. I'm singing something ahead. Start from the beginning. I think it's going to be easier if I stop you and then you pause. There is a moment where it's very crisp, and then you clearly can give a little bit of line.
Okay.
So I will stop you on that, and we go back a little bit. So start, if you can, from the beginning.
Would you like me to sing a cappella?
Why don't we try that?
Okay.
I'm he brave.
Ba-da-dum-ba-ba-ba-da-da-ba-ba.
I'm he brave, a noble cause, a noble cause. The cause of heaven your zeal demands, a noble cause. The cause of heaven your zeal demands, a noble cause. The cause of heaven your zeal demands.
So, the cause. Sing for me the cause of heaven your zeal demands. It's so hard without the accompaniment. The cause of heaven your zeal. Sing for me after Our Army Brave, a noble cause, the cause of heaven. Just that part, please.
The cause of heaven your zeal demands.
There you go. The cause of heaven your zeal demands. Very martial. A noble cause, the cause of heaven your zeal demands. A noble cause, the cause of heaven your zeal demands. You see, pa 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 da pa 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 pa. pa 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 da 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 da, and then we go back. Marshall, 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 trumpet, 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 pa pa da pa da pa da, piano, pa da 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 pa pa, but without losing the line. It's not pa, because if you wanted it staccato, he would have marked it. He didn't, so it had the cause of heaven your zeal demands. Pa da da. It's not pa 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 da da, but a little bit more separation. That's what I'm saying. There are several instances in this aria where it's very martial, it's very trumpet-like, but then you have to find the places where it's more like a clarinet than a trumpet. You know what I'm saying? It's a little bit more, otherwise it gets too boring. Another very important thing, you say arm about 114 times in 5 pages worth of music. Come up with different arms. Arm, army brave, arm, 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 army brave, you know, breathy, intense, pleading, excited. You have a whole range of emotions that you should be able to express in all those different arms. So why don't we go from the beginning again? I want to see if you can assimilate this little thing that I just said about the line on the cause of heaven your zeal demands, and then we move on a little bit. We keep going a little bit, and I'll try to help you with all those arms and a little bit of more of how to convey the text.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Could I use the track this time around?
Absolutely.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Arm he brave.
Thank you. Pause. There you go. This is the first thing you sing. So you have to make an impression right away. It's arm he brave. So it can be army brave, army brave, army brave. Either if you roll the R or if you flip the R, brave is a great word. It's a word that you can explode to the audience. So it's army brave, army brave. It's not just anyone. It's only the brave one. Even if they are not brave, you're trying to turn them into brave ones. So this is something that you have to excite them. If you are excited, they get excited. So let's do it one more time, please.
Thank you.
Arm he brave.
Better.
Arm he brave. A noble cause, a noble cause.
Good.
The cause of heaven your zeal demands.
Trumpet.
A noble cause, the cause of heaven your zeal demands. A noble cause,
Line.
the cause of heaven your zeal demands.
Much better. Much better. Exactly. Because then it gets interesting to us.
Yeah.
ABA arias, I love them because I love Baroque music. I wish I sing more of Baroque music. Unfortunately, it's not done as much in this country as in other parts of the world. But again, it has to be well done. Otherwise, it gets bored, especially for today's audiences with a shortage attention span.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to give them a reason to stay engaged. And this is, I'm talking to you, but I'm talking to everybody in the class as well. This is my personal creed. Everything comes from the text. We think we sing music, we don't. We think we sing notes, we sing words. Word is what inspired the composer. Words is what inspired the audience listening to the music that the composer put onto words. So if you want to talk about instrumentalists, is a different discussion. But for us, for singers, we are word speakers. So the words that we are saying is the source, is where we find everything we need to find, is what we, because sometimes you don't know why a composer did a little thrill on the second page. Look at what's being said. Look at what is going to be said. There's everything that great composers, that is. Great composers, they always have a reason to choose the music, the notes that they chose, to choose the musical melismas that they chose. And 9 out of 10, if not 10 out of 10, they found that in the words that they are putting to music. So if you're singing an aria that is all about engaging people, exciting people, make them literally face violence, death, horrible things in order to try to free themselves from slavery, you have to be this thing that is bigger than a mountain. You have to be bigger than yourself, bigger than anything that you can possibly think, because you have to be a symbol for them to put their lives in the line in order to succeed in this endeavor. And of course, it's a work of fiction. You're not, when you sing to an audience, you're not trying to make them raise up in arms, but they have to feel that excitement emanating from you. They have to, if they feel that, that's another creed of mine. If you make an audience not see some random person singing, but rather another human being, a character, expressing their truest, their most sincere feelings on stage, they don't care if you crack the high note. They don't care if you went flat on the second page. They don't care if you missed an entrance, if you missed a dotted quarter somewhere, because they are so engaged, they're so in line with you that they don't care about it. They're not paying attention to that. The bigger picture becomes much more important than the little things. So I was trained to be an artist before a singer. And being an artist means you become a character. You don't portray a character. And that goes to everything. I personally have much more operatic experience because it was the way my life went. But this goes to anything. If you're doing an oratorio, if you're doing an opera, if you're doing a song, you're always telling a story. You always tell, you are portraying, but hopefully becoming a human being that's telling a story. And if the audience sees that, they couldn't care less if you have a cold, if you're having a bad day, if your voice is not the best shape ever, because they get so enthralled into this whole thing that they are that much more willing to forgive anything. If they see a professional singing, they want professionalism, they want perfection. If they see a fellow human being expressing, opening their hearts to them, then they're just sharing energy. And that's when things really go somewhere. So I talked a lot about, but I want to hear more of you singing. Can we move on? Can we move on to the 2 minutes? Oh boy. Can we move on to the the B part, when you go back to the theme?
Yeah. You mean when I come in with
yes.
Again.
Yes.
See if I could find it. Do you want it just a cappella then? Because
a cappella is fine. A cappella is fine.
Okay. I'm he brave. I'm he brave. Shoot. Okay. Sorry, I didn't have the music in front of me, so I'm struggling to remember what's coming after that. Let's see. Here. My apologies.
That's okay. The very end of the aria.
Okay.
So army brave.
Oh yes.
Okay. There you go.
Just escaped my mind. So I'm ye brave, a noble cause, the cause of heaven demands your zeal, a noble cause. I'm ye brave,
arm ye brave, the cause of heaven your zeal demands.
Okay, so I would suggest, for instance, the first arm ye brave on the last line, you do a little bit more pleading. In other words, you can convey that making a little bit mezzo forte or even maybe mezzo piano. A noble cause, army brave, army brave. So the first one last, the second one more, and then you really do a rallentando. The cause of heaven, your zeal demands. Come up with something for that dotted half note. It can't just be that. I've done. I can give you a few examples that I've done before. Your zeal demands. Oh, your zeal demands. Any of them, but just or talk to your coach, talk to your teacher. By the way, you have a phenomenal teacher. And come up. You should have some kind of cadenza in there. Okay.
Okay.
We are running out of time, but if I may just breach over just a little bit, all those arms, when you do arm, army brave, arm, army brave. So you say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 arms in
4 measures.
in 10 seconds of music. You have to come up with different arms. It'll be arm, army brave, arm, army brave. No, happy, angry, pleading, soft. You don't have to be, that's just my philosophy. You don't have to sing beautiful every single note. If a note asks or gives a space to quote unquote ugliness because of what you're saying, do it. Take the plunge. It doesn't have to be, I'm brave, I'm brave. It can't be the whole time, I'm brave. This is not a pirate singing. But once in a while, it adds flavor. It makes it more interesting. It's within the character. So always keep this in mind. Be the character. Don't just be a baritone singing. If we see just another baritone, why would I care to watch just another baritone singing? There's thousands of us. The only thing worse than us is high sopranos. Sorry, high sopranos, but like baritones and high sopranos, so we are the underdogs of opera singing. What you make the difference when you become a character, when you bring that energy, when you really become a storyteller versus a note singer. That's my biggest thing. Be more than just a CD. Be a person. Be something that we can empathize, that we can hate, that we can love, that we can connect, that we can share the pain with, share the energy. This is what engages an audience. This is what makes an audience comes back to see more.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Josh. Wonderful voice, wonderful job. I wish we had a little bit more time, and I hope I helped just a little bit at least.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna steal those cadenzas.
Please. Thank you.
Thank you, Josh. Great job.
Thank you, Dr. Radford.
Artis Fayed now.
Saltro che lacrime. Give me 1 second. There we go. Hold on. Where's her? There she is.
I'm over here.
Hello.
Hi, nice to meet you, Mr. Vieira.
Hello.
My name is
Nice to meet you.
Today I'll be singing Saltro che lacrime
Yes.
from La Clemenza di Tito composed by Mozart.
Okay.
Saltro che lacrime per l'ai contenti, tutto piangere non gioverà, tutto il tuo piangere
Good job. Brava. Okay, so I'm gonna put you on the spot a little bit and do something that I hated that was done to me when I sang in master classes way back when, before you were born. What are you saying?
So in this aria, the character that I'm playing, Servilia, she is consoling while also persuading this other character. Oh my gosh, I forgot her name. It starts with a V. Sesto?
I believe so, right?
No. Isn't that the person that's...
No, Sesto is the one that he thinks, yes, Vitelio.
Yes. So she's upset, not Servilia, but I'm sorry.
That's okay.
The character that she's consoling is upset because essentially what happened is she tried to get Sesto to betray the emperor.
Yes.
And now he's on trial and I think he's going to die, but it's actually her fault. And so she's sitting there crying, and she is trying to tell her, if you do nothing, if you just sit here and cry, nothing's going to be solved.
Exactly. That is the point. That's what I was trying to convey you. What you're saying is, if you don't do anything other than crying, you're not helping, you're not doing anything at all. Mm-hmm. So she's being, and she sings exactly the same thing twice, which goes back to what I was just saying to Josh. You have to come up with some way to make this interesting to us. Otherwise, why would you say it twice? For our sake. For the character's sake, you're saying it twice because you're trying to convince her that what you're saying is true. But for our sake, you have to make it vocally a little bit more interesting if you're singing exactly the same melody and words in this case twice. So strophic, and there's a lot of strophic songs today for me to go over with you guys, is a very hard thing because exactly this, you have to come up with different emotions every time with the same melody. So you have to find more than one nuance in the music so that you can explore those different nuances every time you sing the same theme. So I would say if I was directing, let's say I was directing this aria, when you sing the two sustained high A's, the first one, I would make the person who you're singing to walk away, and you sustain that song because you're going after them and grabbing them. No, listen to me. I know you said, but what I'm saying has value. You should listen to me. And the second time, they're still not 100% convinced, and the high note you use to keep them where they are. So I'm saying this in this particular situation doesn't do much good to you because we are not performing the opera. But this is for you. You have an idea that how all those pieces that we are singing, they all fit into a theatrical, into a storytelling situation. And that's what that is the mind frame we should always have. And that being giving a recital in an audition specifically, more importantly, when you sing an audition for an opera company, of course, they are very much interested in knowing if you sing well, but they want to know if you have what's called the whole package. If you are a good singer, if you are a good actress, if you are a good linguistic person. So, okay, why don't we go back and do the beginning again?
Okay.
And why don't we explore something like, I would say, the first time you sing it, singing a little bit, because Vitellia is not, Vitellia is the one singing, right?
Servilia is the one singing.
Servilia is the one singing. Servilia reminds me a lot of Zerlina in Don Giovanni. She is young, but she's very smart. She is very preppy, very, frolicky. But at the same time, she is very matter of fact. She knows what she wants. So I would suggest maybe trying the first time you were a little bit more annoyed by the fact, like you kind of like yelling at her, quote unquote, saying, if you just sit there crying, this is not gonna do anything. And actually This kind of feeling that you have is very similar to cruelty, because instead of helping the person that you want to help, you actually just like patting yourself in the back and saying, oh, I'm such a nice person, I'm suffering so much because that person is in trouble, instead of saying, okay, what can I do to actually help that person? So the first time you go through the music, through the words, is more kind of like just a very matter of fact, a very kind of like, you know, why don't you get out of your butt and do something about it? And the second time, it's a little bit more what you did now. It's a little bit more, okay, let me try this different approach. Hitting the nail in the head didn't work. Let me try going around and being a little bit more tactic.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, so the first half I sing kind of like very matter of fact, logical.
Yes.
And the second time I'm a little bit more consoling.
Yes, but consoling in the sense of you trying to get to her. Your first tactic didn't work. Let me try something different.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? And another thing, and this is something musical. I'm not going to say anything vocal to any of you guys because I'm not here as a voice teacher. I'm here just more as a suggester than anything else. What I would like more from you, because this aria begs for it, the way it was written, is line. Lots of line and shape. This aria, the same way Josh's aria was 85% vertical, and we were trying to find a 15% horizontal. This one is 96% horizontal, and there's a 4% vertical that we can use here and there just for the sake of style and flavor. But this aria is all, even when you're singing in the matter-of-fact approach, it's all about line and roundness versus sharp edges.
Okay.
All right?
Okay. S'altro che lacrime per lei non tenti, tutto il piangere non gioverà, tutto il piangere non gioverà, non gioverà a quest'inutile pietà che senti. Quanto è simile la crudeltà.
Thank you. So, notice that you said crudeltà twice.
Mm-hmm.
The first time you said it, why do you say it twice?
Because it's important.
That's a good answer.
Yeah.
In a theatrical approach, you say twice, maybe because the first time the message didn't really got across. So I'm going to say it again. I say this because if you're going to say it again, you have to show us that you have a reason to do that. So if you sing the first crudeltà exactly the same way you sang the second crudeltà, then we are at loss. So it has to be la crudeltà, la crudeltà. Like, did you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Okay.
do you get it? What you're doing is cruel. It's cruel. You see what I'm saying? That is the whole point. When you read anything, this should be a rule of thumb to all of you guys. Every time in any song, if you repeat something, the composer didn't repeat because he ran out of words. He had more notes than words. He made a conscious choice to repeat the aria, to repeat the word. It's your job to make that meaningful. So if you sing arm 8 times in 4 bars, you have to come up with 8 different arms. If you sing crudeltà 4 times in this aria, Each one has to be different. It doesn't have to be light and day. You don't have to be one doing a black flip and the other one crying your eyes out. But they should have a perceivable difference outside for us. Otherwise, it gets really boring. And the worst possible thing, it's better to sing bad than to sing boring. That's also my philosophy. I prefer to sing, yeah, his voice wasn't so good, but he was damn entertaining. Sorry, maybe I shouldn't have said that, but you get the point. He was very much entertaining. So in any case, that's the point. Make it interesting to us. The line is better. I would like to see you breathe. I don't want to see you doing this, but I would like to feel that you have breath before a quarter of a second before your first note. It feels to me that it's introduction, instead of being we should, especially in a song like this, the beginning should feel, we should see almost no break whatsoever. It should be introduction into the voice. We don't see that break. Okay. So why don't, since it's exactly the same thing, I prefer to keep working a little bit more on this and then talk to you about the second verse than to just moving on. Why don't we go back to the beginning, try one more time, please?
Okay. S'altro che lacrime per l'anno denti, tu piangere.
Thank you. See, that's another thing that I was saying. You use the words the same way the brave helps. Tutto is a good word for the high G. Tutto. So you explode that high G because it's doppia T. Tutto. It's not tutto. Tutto. Yes, a coach of mine used to say, per cantare la doppia bisogna fermare. To sing the double, you need to stop. So you have to be that little tutto. So it's tutto papirira. So use the language in your favor versus against you.
Okay.
The beginning was much better. Much better. Exactly. It didn't feel that, oh, now she starts singing. By the time we realize what's going on, you're already on the third note, which is exactly what should be. Let's keep going from where you stopped.
Okay, I'll try my best to.
Yes, I know that this is not the best circumstances, so.
Let's see. Oh, okay. Non gioverà a quest'inutile pietà che senti, quanto è simile la crudeltà.
Pause. Exactly. You see the difference? It's much more interesting. You could also later on, I have 20 minutes with you over a screen, so it's hard to get the as much as we can, but you could also, a quest'inutile, thank you, 2 minutes, Dr. Redford. A quest'inutile pietà che senti, o quanto è simile la crudeltà. So this was great. The second crudeltà was great. Since we have 2 minutes, let's go on to the second. Now, the second time around, be very cozy, be very nice, be like really trying to console her.
Okay. Again, let me see. S'altro che lacrime per l'anno denti, tutto piangere non gioverà.
Thank you. Tutto il tuo piangere twice. You either have to give us something either musically or dramatically. I would suggest do the first one pianissimo, the second one a little bit crescendo. Or if you don't like that, the other way around. Or make one, oh my gosh, I'm trying to be nice and she doesn't listen to me. I'm very annoyed. Okay, that didn't work. Let me try again, a different, be nice again. All those things. Another thing, this is something you discuss with your coach and your teacher. I was taught that Mozart, you also embellish. Okay. That is a big argument about it. That's why this is just a suggestion. So people that say never, Mozart, you do exactly what's on the page. Some people say you embellish almost, not as much, but almost like Handel. I love to embellish Mozart, especially strophic Mozart, or not strophic because technically it's not a strophic song, but the music that repeats. So you, if you like, you could do. Shit. I don't know the. Can you sing the beginning of the second part again?
Yes. Can I do it a cappella? Is that fine?
Yes. Yes.
S'altro che lacrime
per lui non tente. Sì, s'altro che lacrime per lui non tenti, tutta piangere non gioverà. Okay. Little things. You don't rewrite the aria like sometimes you do with an ABA aria, but you put little things here and there to make it a little bit more interesting, and it's not just exactly the same music. Again, this is just a suggestion. I'm here today not to tell you guys things. I'm here today to suggest things to you. So take it back to your teacher, to your coaches, and if you don't like it, it's fine. None of us have all the answers. If you like, great. So I hope I helped a little bit. Again, 20 minutes over a screen is very hard, but I hope I helped a little bit.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate all of your help, and I'm going to take all of that into consideration. Thank you so much.
Wonderful job. Beautiful voice.
Thank you.
Thank you, Pardis. All right. And now we hear from Megan Forgy.
Hello.
Hi. My name is Megan Forgy, as you just heard, and I will be singing Gretchen am Spinnrade by Franz Schubert.
Yes, that's a doozy, isn't it? Are you singing all 3 verses?
Yes.
All right, let's do it.
Meine Ruhe ist hin, mein Herz ist schwer. Ich finde sie nimmer und nimmer mehr. Wo ich ihn nicht hab, ist mir das Grab, die ganze Welt ist mir vergällt. Mein armer Kopf ist mir verrockt, mein armer Sinn ist mir verstückt. Meine Ruhe ist hin, mein Herz ist schwer. Ich finde sie nimmer und nimmer mehr. Nach ihm nur schau ich zum Fenster hinaus, nach ihm nur geh ich auf dem Haus, sein hoher Gang, sein edle Gestalt, seines Mundes Lächeln, seine Augen Gewalt und seine Rede zauberhaft, sein Händedruck ist still, mein Herz ist schwer. Ich finde sie nimmer und nimmer mehr. Mein Busen drängt sich nageln und wird ihn fassen und atmen und lösen so fort an seinen Küssen vergehen sollt. Ach, könnte ich vergessen, so fort an seinen Küssen vergehen sollt, an seinen Küssen vergehen sollt. Meine Ruhe ist still, mein Herz ist schwer.
Wonderful. I love your facial expressions. Your German is pretty good too.
Thank you.
So again, I go back to what I said already twice. When I was a student, when I was your age, I would give recitals and I would sing Schubert and Schumann and Strauss, and I would act. Granted, I would go a little bit over the top, so I understand the criticism I received, but the general rule of thumb back then was, oh no, this is lead. Lead, you just sing. You just have a blank face and a beautiful pose and you sing. I personally don't believe in that. You will not you're not gonna bring a spinning wheel to a recital and you're gonna act the song. But you're telling a story. In this one specifically is an incredibly rich, entertaining, enticing story. So I would be bored to tears if I'm sitting there and all I'm seeing is a beautiful voice that I can close my eyes and it's the same as with my eyes open. So my humble personal 2 cents is absolutely, you're telling a story, tell the story, act, show me facial expressions, show me differences. I'm happy in this verse. I'm not happy in this verse. Why would I have the same face? And he just changes the vocal inflection. That makes no sense to me. So this is a phenomenal. It's like a little opera in itself. You have this whole thing. I think it's fantastic that he uses, there's a reason why 300 years almost later, we are still singing his song, is because it was a genius. And how the music is this hypnotic circular thing. And he goes, but he goes back, and he goes out, and he goes back. And I think this is her. She is in the spinning wheel, and she's like completely lost in the whole thing. And then slowly she comes out of it, and she explodes. And then slowly the spinning wheel hypnotizes her again, and she goes back. And she fights it, and she comes out, and then it goes back. And so ultimately, the spinning wheel wins. The hypnotic power of the spinning wheel wins, which you can translate that. You can have, you can write books about it. Oh, is this a metaphor for death? Is because it doesn't matter what you do, eventually it's inevitable. Is this a metaphor to life, where you end up getting enthralled into the situations and you try to break free, but ultimately they bring you back in? Those are all things that you can discuss later with your coach and your teachers. But the idea, I think, is this. So I would do the first verse almost like in a trance, completely lost in the spinning wheel. And then when the music starts, because the music leads you. Leina's not here anymore, she left, but we have a common friend named Daniel Halfgott, which was a mentor of mine. And he used to say this, and I take this to my heart, and I tell people that I teach, people that I direct, you fight the music, you lose every single time. You want to know where the answers are is in the marriage between the music and the words. So, oh, I'm saying this and I don't know what to do. Listen to the music. Oh, I don't know what this melody is telling me. pay attention to the words. So the music takes you. She's in this trance at the beginning, and slowly she comes out of it because she's remembering of him, and she's seeing him in front of him, and she's feeling his warmth, his breath, his lips touching her. So you break out of it, but then eventually you kind of go back, and you're in that limbo type where the spinning wheel is almost hypnotizing you again, but you're still fighting it, and then you come out of it again for the second part, and then slowly the spinning wheel wins, and it brings you back. So it is like this. This song is like this. You begin in a trance-like, you crescendo into this explosion of emotion, and you're fighting, you're losing, you slowly go back to where you started. And I know you're doing it with a recording, but when you do it with an accompanist, I would slow down a lot at the end. Meine Ruhe ist hin, mein Herz ist schwer. And then you hold that last one almost to that, but you don't hold and break. You make that diminuendo into disappear. Then this song is magical. It's like König. Those are two magical songs. It's an entire opera in 6 pages of music. So let's perform from the beginning again. Let's try. Wonderful job. Remember, the first time, very almost expressionless, but it's not expressionless. Is this expression that conveys just you were lost. You're lost in thought. You're lost in the spinning. You're in a trance. And then slowly, let me see in your eyes and your facial expression. The music will carry you. You fighting against it and exploding into emotion. And then we go on from there.
Meine Ruhe ist hin, mein Herz ist schwer. Ich finde sie nimmer und nimmer mehr.
Pause for a second. Just one little tiny thing of German. German, a lot of people don't realize that, has similarities to Italian. Double consonants in German, you should do like you do in Italian. You stop them. So it's nimma. It's not just nimma. Nimma. And this helps you. Ich finde sie nimmer und nimmer mehr. It brings the voice to the front. And it helps you with the dotted. Okay? So we don't have to go back. Let's just keep it in mind. We can keep going where we stopped.
Oh, okay. Hold on one sec. It reset.
Oh, then let's go back. Let's go back then. It's easier to go back.
Okay. Meine Ruhe ist hin, mein Herz ist schwer. Ich finde sie nimmer und nimmer mehr.
Exactly. In a trance.
Wo ich ihn nicht hab, ist mir das Grab. Die ganze Welt ist mir.
You're gonna break it. You're breaking from it.
Ist mir verrückt, mein armer Sinn ist mir verstückt. Meine Ruhe ist hin, mein Herz ist schwer. Ich finde sie nimmer und nimmer mehr.
Pause. Okay. So great. You did a little bit. There is a little in those first 2 pages. You start in a trance, you kind of come out of it a little bit on my arme Kopf ist mir, but then you kind of go back. You repeat the same words twice, which means you have to come up with 2 different ways to deliver them. what I would say right now, the two of them were a little bit similar. I would say the way you're using it's better for the second time than for the first time. I would do, again, this is just my humble 2 cents. I would start it almost emotionless, almost just like reciting what you're saying. Meine Ruhe ist hin, mein Herz ist schwer, ich finde sie nimmer und nimmer. Boom, blank face. Slowly, the fog clears a little bit. Wo ich ihn ich hab, ich mir das gerab. He changed the harmony, he changed the notes. Something is happening. Break from that, and then we went back. The spinning wheel pulled you back in. The second time, you're not coming back into the spinning wheel from the same place. You're coming back from breaking through it a little bit. So this one can be a little bit more suffering, a little bit more. No, I don't want this. No, let me clear the fog. I don't want to get stuck into this again. And then this will lead into the big breakout that you're gonna have on the second part. Okay? I don't know if you can do this with your music, but would it be possible to go back to the second Meine Ruhe ist him?
Yes, I think so.
Okay. So this one, if I could give you like a more like physical example, the first one you're breathing normally. The second one you're a little bit more short breath. It's a little, and then because that excitement is what will gallop you into the big moment soon. All right, so let's go.
Meine Ruhe ist hin, mein Herz ist
Herz,
ich
finde sie
und
Yes, use this bridge.
Nach ihm nur schau ich zum Fenster hinaus, nach ihm nur geh ich auf dem Haus, sein hoher Gang, seine Gestalt, sein gesundes Lächeln, seine Augen Gewalt und seine Rede Zauberfluss, sein Händedruck
You're right. Und sein Kuss.
Sorry, I thought you said to pause.
No. You're doing great. You're doing fantastic. Yes, I love that. I didn't tell you. I was going to, but I didn't need to because you did it on your own. The little middle part. Nach ihm nur geh ich aus dem Haus. It's a fond memory. It's a little yes, but then you go back to the anxiety. You go back to everything is in the music. The music is perfect. It's anxious, anxious. Nice memory, anxious, and boom, explosion. And then we go back because the spinning wheel bring you back in, reeling you back in. Fantastic job. Should we keep going on the second part after Kuss?
2 minutes. 2 minutes.
Thank you. 2 minutes, Doctor. She vanished. Oh, there she is.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Meine Ruhe ist hin, mein Herz ist schwer. Ich finde sie nimmer und nimmer mehr. Mein Busen dreht hängt sich nach ihm hin und stirbt dich fassen und hält ihn nicht und die Größe nicht, sondern etwas an seinen Gesinn vergehen soll. Könnte den Gesinn so wegwollt an seinen Gesinn vergehen soll, an seinen Gesinn vergehen soll. Meine Ruhe ist schön, mein Herz ist schön.
Thank you. Let's pause. We probably have a minute left. Fantastic. You do it really, really well, and I can clearly see you know what you're singing. What I would suggest, an seinen Küssen vergehen sollt, less. If you start too big, there's nowhere else to go. Start in a mezzo forte, maybe even a mezzo piano, and crescendo into that. And if you can, on the vergehen sollt, the F, well, for me it's F sharp, for you it's probably an A. If you can, try, I know high note, the way it's written is hard, but if you can, try to the first one, maybe do a little bit of, you hit it piano and crescendo, or if you're able to do it a little bit mezzo forte. So we have differences between the first and the second. And the second one, and the very last part, meine Ruhe ist hin, mein Herz ist schwer, as I said, my humble 2 cents, I would really slow down so that you have time to, because right now, because of the speed that you're doing is, meine Ruhe ist hin, mein Herz ist schwer. So you don't have time enough to breathe before mein Herz ist schwer to hold it all the way. And if you slow down a little bit, you can do, meine Ruhe ist hin, mein Herz ist schwer. And we will hear that, actually it's not schwer, sorry, it's not schwer, even better. Then we don't read it, we just hear the little, at the very last minute, the little flip of the R. Schwer. Boom. Beautiful job. Fantastic job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Megan. All right, so now we're going to hear from Morgan Claiborne. Morgan.
Dido.
Hello, yes.
Hello.
Good
Talk about
afternoon.
dramatic stuff.
I know. Yes, I will be singing Dido's Lament from Dido and Aeneas from Henry Purcell. I'll be singing both the Recit by Hand Belinda and the song When I Am Laid in Earth.
Thank you so very much.
By hand Belinda, darkness shades me on thy bosom, let me rest, for I would
Brava.
Yeah.
Good job. Let me ask you something. Are you reading for the score?
No, not right now.
Okay. May I suggest you do it without your glasses on?
Okay.
All right. So you don't have to worry about that. There's one last thing for you to worry about. I always sing with my glasses out. Actually, I never got correcting surgery for my eyes because I take this and then you can put God himself in front of me and it's just a blur, so I don't get nervous.
Same. Yeah.
That's the reason. All right. So let's start with the recit.
Okay.
It's a recit. In other words, you are reciting, you are reciting, you are, in other words, just saying it. The note, again, this is just my philosophy, the way I was taught. You don't have to follow it. Some people will not like it. Recits, the way I see, something has to be written on the score. They cannot just put words and say, sing whatever you want. So, but the phrasing and the words that you're saying should be what's governing the way the recit goes. So don't feel that you have to rush. Don't feel that, oh, I make that pause instead of a quarter pause, I made it into a half pause. Oh my gosh. The recit is yours. Once we get into the music, it's a little bit different. But recit is you as an artist. Take possession of it and do within, obviously, the confines of style and all, but do what you will with it. So why don't we start again from the beginning, from the recit, and take your time. Don't feel that you have to rush. Really deliver those lines. Think of what you're saying. Think of what the situation is. You're about to kill yourself. Or, I mean, it's not clear if she kills herself or if she dies out of desperation or good. She knows she's going to die. So you're not in any hurry. You're not necessarily avoiding it, but you're not in any hurry about it. So.
Yeah. Right. My hand
right there. Thy hand, Belinda. You know, it's not thy hand. It's not that aria. You're not being killed. You're choosing to die. So you are in control. So if there's anyone freaking out, it's Belinda, it's not you. So that's why, give me your hand. It's okay. It's totally fine. Just remember me. I'm okay with dying. Just remember my deeds. Right?
My hand, Belinda, For I want but death invades me. Death is no welcome guest.
Pause. Great. I like the new version of the accompaniment. So, more I would, but death invades me. Just for the sake of differentiation, of adding spice, adding flavor to it. That one I would do a little bit more matter of fact. So the first one is perfect. Take your time. If I could suggest anything is don't let the chord and then breathe. Breathe with the chord, but start at your own pace. So it's not thy hand billing days. Thy hand. So we don't see you breathing. It's much more interesting if we don't know where it's coming from. Then the second one, more I would, but death invades me. Then we slow down again. Death is now a welcome guest. I think it makes his only true system, his only true phrases, but it's make a little bit more interesting to us, which is something that's normally very boring. I personally don't care much for recits, but they are very important. But they can be very boring if we don't make something out of them. But the same can be said of any aria. So that's why we have the responsibility to make them interesting to the audience.
Okay.
So we don't need to go back for the benefit of time. So let's just keep going.
Okay, let me find it real quick. Let me rest, for I would, but death invades me. Death is no welcome guest. Keep going.
Since you stopped, great. We don't have to, but if you can, I would try to do death is now a welcome guest in one breath. It makes way more interesting, and it's such a powerful phrase that if you just do it in one breath, it's that much more interesting. We don't have to go back. We can keep going.
Right.
Pianissimo.
When I am late, I'm late in earth. May my wrongs create no trouble in my breast.
Pause. So he specifically puts down pianissimo. My personal take is this. Where is this coming from? It's coming from death is now a welcome guest. So you don't say death is now a welcome guest and then sing at the top of your lungs. It's a very painful thing. It's a very hurtful thing. So that entire first phrase, I would do as piano as comfortable to you. Because then what happens? You say the exact same thing again. And that is the perfect situation where now it dawns to you what's happening. So that you can do a little bit louder, maybe even loud, because it's the first one is pain and dread. The second one is exasperation and anxiety. Mm-hmm. So it's that thing that I keep saying to all of you guys, how we find ways to make repetition become something interesting is by making them into not really repetition. They're just similar, but they're not the same. And everything that you need to figure out what you do is right there in black and white. It's either in the music or the text, or usually both of them together. So I would do the first one as piano as you can. Then the second one is not necessarily loud, it's just more intense. It's more like, exasperated. Can we keep going from where we stopped, or we would have to go back?
We can keep going.
Okay, then we are about to enter the second time where you can be louder and more.
Perfect. Yes, sorry. Wait.
Okay. And since we paused, make sure we don't see you beginning late. It's a little bit too when I make it a little bit more. When. Use it. You're starting with a vowel, so it can be when I am.
Yeah. Okay. When I am late, I'm late, I won't create no trouble in my breast.
Pause. Now, we're going to have 3 remembers very close to each other.
Mhm.
Make a decision. I would make the first one pleading. Actually, I would make the first one pleading, but in a pathetic sense. Remember me. Then the second one is pleading in a more dramatic sense. Remember me. Don't let me fade into oblivion. And then the last remember me is not really remember me the way I see. It's not, she's saying remember me, but the subtext is just plain out exasperation. It's more like it's almost like an like AH exclamation mark. But she's doing that in saying the word remember me. It's just like how all this could happen to me.
Mhm.
It's more like a cry than a plea. So it's pathetic pleading, desperate pleading, and a cry out of desperation.
Yes.
So we can just keep going straight into the first remember me.
Mhm.
Please remember me. Now remember me.
Remember me.
Better.
I don't forget my fate.
Explosion.
Remember me, but forget my fate.
Sad.
Remember me. I don't forget my fate. Remember me, but I don't forget my fate.
Pause. We don't need to go through the whole. Wonderful.
2 minutes.
Thank you, Dr. Radford. She's gone.
Hello?
Oh, there you are. Much, much better. Wonderful. Thank you. Since we have just 2 minutes, I would do, that is the remember me on the G's, and then repeats right before you finish. The second one, so give a lot on the first, but give room to give even more on the last one because it's your last statement.
Okay.
And I would try to do remember me, but forget my fate. So
Okay.
you breathe after the as before the forget and not before the but. In the last one,
Yes.
that one, again, just my humble 2 cents, I would ignore the comma after remember me and just make that into your last quote unquote convulsion before dying, and then you dissipate, you like waste and die. So do you want to go, since we have probably like a minute left, straight into the last remember me, but forget my fate. Remember me.
Yeah. So you want me to connect that "Remember Me" to the "but like without a break?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and breathe before forget.
Got it. Let me find it real quick.
Sure. Thank you. Remember me, but so remember me, but forget my fate.
Hold it out.
See? Yes. And if you want, it might not be really the case, but just if you want, maybe the recital or something, make more interest. But forget my fate. It's within the style. It's a little bit uncalled for because of the song, because what you're saying, but it's within the style, and maybe in a recital is interesting just to not be the same thing. Sometimes we have to make it interesting to ourselves as well. So. Well, wonderful job. Beautiful voice. Great job. I hope I helped a little bit. Of course. My pleasure.
Yes. Thank you.
Great job, Morgan. All right. We're going to hear from Annika Bull now. Annika Bull.
All right.
Hello.
Hello.
My name is Annika Bull. Yeah.
All right. Let me find you. There you go. So we're going to sing, laugh, and sleep.
I will be singing Serenade by Charles Gounod.
All right.
Tu chantes, bercée le centre mes bras. Entends-tu ma pensée qui te répond au bas? Tant de jours la belle, les plus beaux de mes jours. Chantez, chantez ma belle, chantez, chantez toujours, chantez, chantez ma belle, chantez toujours, chantez ma belle, chantez toujours. Sur ton bouche l'amour s'épanouit. Et soudain les farouches soupçons s'évanouissent. À leur rire vivait le provocation des doigts. Riez, riez, ma belle, riez, riez toujours, riez, riez, ma ma belle brille toujours. Quand tu dors comme mes pieds dans l'ombre sous mes yeux, ton ligne mérite mon harmonie. Ton beau corps soulève les sonnois du sans Dormez, dormez, ma belle, dormez, dormez toujours, dormez, ma belle, dormez toujours, dormez, ma belle, dormez, dormez toujours.
Good job. All right. So, same thing. I mean, I don't know if you guys got together and decided on this together, but every single one of you came up with an aria that either repeats the same text or repeats the same theme or repeats the same melody. So, which is great because I'm good at like helping you guys finding different motivations for different sections. So, as I was joking in the beginning, the first time you talk about her or him, this is a unisex song. You talk about his singing, then you talk about his laughing, and then you talk about him sleeping. So if you had to translate those three things into musical, what's the word I'm looking? Piano, mezzo piano forte is the word is right here.
The dynamics?
Dynamics, thank you. If you had to translate those three things into musical dynamics, singing, laughing, sleeping, give me one for each.
So I was going for was probably the first one, probably like a mezzo forte, and then the second one more towards a forte because it's like laughing. And then for the sleeping one, I was trying to go for more of a piano.
All right, that's nothing wrong with that. What I can tell you out here, again, it's incredibly hard to do this over a computer screen and without the accompanist there with you. It came out a little bit, they're all the same. I personally would suggest a little bit different. Singing and the way the text is put to music and the way the music carries that particular verse is very bubbly, is very happy, is very uplifting. So that one, I think it could be a forte. It could be, I need to see you smiling the whole time. You're singing. I mean, nobody sings, you know, like holding themselves. Singing is an expression of letting it go. So the first one I would be very, especially on the melismas. This is really is having fun. The second one, it is laughing, but you see that he says, well, your laugh is so good that makes even nefarious suspicions go away. If it makes it go away, it means that at some point they were there. So you can say that verse can be a little bit more, yes, it's talking about laughing, but it's also talking about jealousy. It's talking about getting over our couple problems. So it can be a little bit more dense than the first one. And then obviously the third one is about sleeping. Yes, definitely I would try to do as piano as possible. What I would ask you, I don't know you, this is the first time I see you, I'm seeing you singing. It might be nerves, it might be the way the whole internet thing is. I feel you could do a better job into controlling your breath. You can, it's the same thing I said to Morgan before you. I don't want to see, actually not Morgan, Pardee, if I'm not mistaken. No, let me see you breathing and becoming the music. Breathe in a way that we almost don't realize you just breathed. And then so the song kind of starts from nowhere. It's so much more magical to us. If like, cause you listen to the piano and you don't know, like if you don't know the music, you don't know when the singer is going to start. And if the singer telegraphs to us, I'm not about to start. Okay, it's not at the end of the world, but it's so much less interested than like, oh, wow, it's already started. So making a way that we don't see you breathing before you start. And the very last one, the sleeping one. Unfortunately, I tried to find the score for this one. I couldn't, even online. So I don't know exactly where the phrases lay, but I would try to, even if, again, with the playback is almost impossible. But when you do this with your accompanist, he can slow down. It doesn't have to be a tempo the entire time, especially at the very end of the song. So slow it down in a way that you phrase better, that you connect more phrases, that you don't breathe in so many times at the end. And it really feels like this silk scarf kind of floating in the air and then going away. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So why don't, I don't know if you can do this with the playback, would be possible. I think you once you realize what you want to do, the first verse should be fine. It's just like literally have fun. The first verse is all about setting the tone for the music and just relaxing and having fun because it's about singing. The second one, I think we can work a little bit more on. So could you start on Dancaïre?
Is acapella okay? Because I don't know if I can get to that.
Absolutely. Okay. And just one thing. This one, tendu. Careful with tendu. I think you did tout doux. You did something weird French-wise on tendu. It is. Quand tu chantes, bercé les soirs entre mes bras, entendais-tu ma pensée qui te répond tout bas. Tendu, je me rappelle. Tendu, not tout doux. It's a closed O and a pure U. Tendu.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
And we're starting in the second verse.
Yes.
Okay. Quand tu ris, sur ta bouche l'amour s'épanouit. Et soudain les roches.
Thank you. So the first one, let me see a pleased facial expression. Quand tu ris, sur ta bouche l'amour s'épanouit. Then there is music, there's a bridge. Do something with this bridge. Because what's come after the bridge? You talk about jealousy. So let me see in your facial expression like, it's not always nice. You know, your smile is beautiful and I love it, but it's sometimes I get a little jealous, but no, let me see that bridge. That is another thing. We have all those, what I call empty music. Empty music is those bridges. It's the music that where you don't sing. It's empty in the sense of singing, but it's full and it should be full in the sense of intention and energy. Don't feel, none of you guys that are listening to this, don't feel that music that you don't sing is your time to rest. It's not. You can rest vocally, but you cannot rest energy-wise or intention-wise. That bridge is not there just for the sake of giving you 30 seconds worth of breathing in and resting. That bridge is there for you to come up with your next thought, with your next intention. And we have to see that. It cannot spontaneously come out of the blue. We have to see you exactly, pardon me, bridging from thought A to thought B, and then maybe back to thought A, whatever it is. But we have to see those transitions. And if we don't hear them in your voice, we have to see them in your facial and body language. So if we can go back to the beginning of that, quand tu ris.
Quand tu ris, sur ta bouche l'amour s'épanouit. Et soudain, les farouches soupçons s'évanouissent.
Soupçon. Soupçon.
Soupçon.
Soupçon. Yes, you definitely say the P.
Okay.
I mean, again, you might want to go over this with your French coach, but as far as I know, I mean, I was taught soupçon. So, et soudain le farouche soupçon s'évanouit. And nuit, nuit. So it's almost like a umlaut with an I sound. Nuit. French people are very, I can't say the word, but they are very strong about nuit. They really want that umlaut really there.
Okay.
Better. I like the beginning. I mean, you're just doing this on the spot, so take home, think about it, how you do it, how that little quand tu ris sur ta bouche l'amour s'épanouit. Et soudain le farouche soupçon s'évanouit. Let me correct myself. Since it's not N-U-I-T, it's N-O-U-I-T, I might be wrong on that. It might be s'épanouit. It might not be the umlaut. The umlaut might be only if the O wasn't there. So check with your French coach, because French is one of the hardest ones. There's always something to be said about French. But the soupçon, I'm 99.9% sure. So why don't we go from the top of that again?
Quand tu ris, sur ta bouche l'amour s'épanouit.
Music.
Et soudain, les farouches soupçons s'évanouissent.
And then have fun.
Alors ne prouva qu'à sa détour. Riez, riez, ma belle, riez, riez toujours, riez, riez, ma belle, riez toujours, riez, ma belle, riez toujours.
All right. I want to hear the rie part all over again. And this time, let me try to see you at least smiling a couple times. Doesn't have to be every time, but at least a few times.
From the chorus part?
Thank you, Dr. Redford.
Would you like from the chorus or from the beginning where I started?
No, from the very end. Rie, rie, ma belle.
Okay. Riez, riez, ma belle, riez, riez toujours, riez, riez, ma belle, riez toujours, riez, ma belle, riez toujours.
Better. Let me see when you laugh, when you talk about laughing, let me see you smile both with your mouth and your eyes. Really make us feel that you're having a good time. Again, if you are having a good time, we are having a good time. So let's move on with the minute that I have left for the last part, the last verse.
Okay.
Calm, piano. If you are calm, we are calm. If you're anxious and tense, we are anxious and tense.
Ah, I got the words wrong.
Yes. Quand tu dors, calme et pur.
Okay. Quand tu dors, calme et pur dans l'ombre sous mes yeux. Ton haleine murmure des mots harmonieux.
Thank you. So the first, what you did, perfect. Mezzo piano. Ton beau corps se réveille. Your beautiful body reveals itself. It can be a little bit more expand. Okay.
Okay. Would you like me to sing from that part?
Sure.
Okay. Ton beau corps se réveille, son voile, son adore. Dormez, dormez, ma belle, dormez, dormez toujours, dormez, dormez, ma belle, dormez toujours, dormez, ma belle, dormez, dormez toujours.
Good. I would, if you can, the a, dorme, dorme, the a, you do a decrescendo in it, if you can. Ah, dorme. And if you French music is French chanson, you can do that and get away with that. Ah, dorme, dorme. So you put the a and the first dorme together and a comma. Ah, pianissimo, diminuendo. Ah, dorme, dorme, ma belle. Dorme, dorme, toujours. And use the words in your favor. Sleep, sleep, my beauty. Sleep, sleep every day. Dorme, dorme, ma belle. Dorme, dorme, toujours. Dorme. Okay?
Okay.
So, yeah, work a little bit on the French. French, there's always space for improvement. That always doesn't matter. You can like live in Paris for 20 years. There's still gonna be space for improvement in French. Think a little bit more of how certain words can help you. I mean, keeping the line of the phrase is important, but understanding how you can highlight the specific words that give sense and give meaning to the whole song is very important too. And one thing is not, it doesn't cancel the other. You should be able to highlight words still keeping the general sense of the song. So go through the text and say, this is a song, this is a word I would like to be, that I think is important and should be highlighted. This is a phrase that I think is beautiful and should be highlighted. And highlighting doesn't mean singing louder or singing stronger or, you know, like shoving in our faces. Sometimes just a little inflection more or a little pause before, a better enunciation of a specific word shapes the whole phrase. Especially in chamber repertoire, which is chanson, lead, and all those things, the shaping of the song is extremely important because it carries the meaning. In opera, you have light, you have costume, you have people jumping around, you have horses, you have whatever. And that is you, the accompanist, and maybe a beautiful dress that you're wearing, and it might compete with you a little bit, but 99% of the energy is going to emanate from you and what you do with your instrument. So it's very important to keep that in mind when doing chamber repertoire. So wonderful job. Thank you. Appreciate you singing for me.
Thank you so much for your feedback. Thank you.
Absolutely. My pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you so much to Mr. Vieira, and thank you so much to all of our talented students. We're so proud.
Thank you, guys.
Bravissimi tutti. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Thank you, Dr. Radford, for hosting these master classes. Thank you very much to Jose, who is our wonderful technical support. Thank you to our music department. And thank you to Mr. Vieira. Now, the students, if you have to go to your next class, feel free, you can go. If you have a few more minutes and you want to ask Mr. Vieira a question, now is your chance. You can either turn on your microphone and speak, or you can drop it in the chat. Are there any questions? Okay.
All right.
Mr. Vieira, I'll ask you a question.
I think Annika had one. I'm
Annika,
not sure.
do you have a question?
Yeah, I did. So I guess my question, if I can say it correctly, would be like, what were the steps that you took to like get into your professional opera career? That's my question.
Well, it's going to sound like obvious, but at the end of the day, sometimes the obvious answer is the truest answer. Study a lot. I studied a lot. I read a lot. I listened a lot. A lot of times I grew up with my colleagues saying, oh, my teacher tells me to not listen to recordings. I personally am against that. I don't think you should copy recordings. I don't think the recordings are there for you to try to imitate them. But for me, it was indispensable to listen to so many singers, so many recordings, watch, go to see it live, the performances. You learn with your brain, but you learn with your eyes and your ears as well. So expose yourself to a lot. Languages, culturally, understand, like if you go see, you're going to sing Giulio Cesare, and the only thing you know about Giulio Cesare is some guy named Brutus killed him. It makes that much less interesting to you versus if you read about it, if you knew about it, you know who he was, what happened in his life. So I would say studying in the true sense of the word, in terms exposing yourself to as many live performances and even video performances as well. Reading as much as you can, not only about singing, but also about history of opera, about history of classic repertoire. Fischer Disco's book about Lied is phenomenal. Pierre Vallet has books about French repertoire as well. So the earlier and the more you expose yourself to knowledge, later on you will pay off a lot. In a more practical situation, I also try to look for people that I felt that would be able to help me both learning and making connections. So if you can find a coach that coaches in important theaters or coaches important people, and if you have the money, or if you can find the money to go and have a few lessons, it's great. You never know what will happen. The worst case scenario, you will learn, you get a lot of tips from someone that knows a lot about the business. So the main point for me, it was, and it still is, it's up to you. Don't wait